The first park designated as a national park was Yellowstone in 1872. Our visit coincided with the 150th birthday of the park. We had very little expectation and had done very little research prior to our arrival. This is ironic, as Yellowstone was the first reservation we made long before the trip became a reality. We weren't expecting to fall in love with Yellowstone, but we did, especially the bison. Our bucket list trip assumed we would someday, when we were old and gray, go off on a boat and travel a portion of the Great Loop. Somewhere along the way, it changed to a road trip. The first step was making a Madison Campground reservation for the first day the camp opened in the spring. We arrived to 13-degree weather and snow. The park has 278 tent/RV sites with no hookups. There's also 3 group sites. There is no internet and cell service is iffy. Facilities were clean, with flushing toilets but no showers. There is a dump station located at the park. Each campsite has a picnic table, fire ring, and a shared beer box. Yes, I said beers. A further note on bears. We made the decision to spend ridiculous money on bear spray, a decision we now regret, but only because we didn't need it. There is on average 1 bear attack a year. Considering a bear had attacked and killed a visitor a month prior, we were not taking any chances. Now on to our favorite animal, the bison. The Yellowstone Park bison herd is descended from a remnant population of 23 individual bison that survived the mass slaughter of the 19th century. In 1896, the United States government obtained 1 bull and 7 cows from the Lincoln Park Zoo. Go Chicago! Bison greeted us within 5 minutes of entering Yellowstone. There are 4,800 bison wandering Yellowstone, broken into 2 herds, one located in the north and the other in the southwest. In 2016, President Obama signed the National Bison Legacy Act, making the American bison the national mammal. It's only the second animal to represent the U.S. We all know what the first one is, the bald eagle. We're not sure why, but by the end of your trip, if you are like us, they will feel like great big teddy bears, but they are not. A male bison can measure more than 6 feet tall and can weigh as much as 2,200 pounds and run up to speeds of 35 miles per hour. Be careful and keep your distance, but enjoy these magnificent creatures. There is beauty in Yellowstone like nowhere else in the world. You would think all the great artists of the world, past and present, came and painted pictures on Yellowstone's floor. Yellowstone contains more than 10,000 hydrothermal features, including geysers, hot springs, mud pots, and steam vents. These features create what seem like beautiful paintings. Although Fountain Paint Pot Trail is the most famous of all these trails, any trail that includes a thermal feature are beautiful and worth the walk. Most are easily accessible on boardwalks. You have to take part in the tradition of huddling with others to wait and watch the eruption of Old Faithful. Old Faithful erupts every 35 to 120 minutes for 1.5 to 5 minutes. Its maximum height ranges from 90 to 184 feet. How hot? Very hot. Water at the vent has been measured as high as 203 degrees Fahrenheit. The steams at the geyser vent measure as high as 350 degrees. The next expected eruption time can be found at the Visitor Center or the front desk of the Old Faithful Inn. You would think because everyone knows Old Faithful, this is the only geyser at Yellowstone. No, there are 500 more geysers at Yellowstone. Old Faithful is just the most famous. We woke up on Mother's Day to another cold and snowy day. We had great hopes of heading to Old Faithful Inn and taking part in a tour that takes you high into the rafters. Little did we know that this required a reservation weeks ago. The Old Faithful Inn is a log cabin that opened in 1904. When built, it had electricity, steam heat, and indoor plumbing, which was unheard of at the time. The wealthy of America traveled to this remote inn by stage and railroad to be seen. We decided to have a small picnic and use a table at the inn to play cards and enjoy a drink. It did not make up for missing our daughters, but it was a much-needed break from the cold and hiking. The inn is historic and rests among a small village of buildings, including restaurants, visitor centers, Old Faithful Geyser, and the Old Faithful Lodge. Most likely, the first animal you will encounter is a bison in Yellowstone. But remember, the park is filled with various animals at every turn. It is evident where they are by the backups on the roads. If there are cars pulled over, you can bet there's an animal sighting. On our trip, we saw black bear, grizzly, elk, wolf, deer, and more. It became a game of find Waldo each day. We were memorized by the animals, and you will be too. We followed an elk one day through the snow and then realized the next day, oh no, they are one of the most dangerous animals in the park. Good rule of thumb. Use a zoom on your camera. Carry binoculars so you don't put yourself in harm's way, no matter how much you are tempted. If you can only go to one park, Yellowstone would be our choice. Due to the different ecosystems and the 2.2 million acres, Yellowstone seems to have something for everyone. Canyons, waterfalls, hiking, animals. The drive through Yellowstone is a figure 8 and allows you to traverse the park easily when all the roads are open, and allows accessible viewing of all the major sites and animals. Yellowstone had everything we could have ever hoped for. We realized we had done our children a disservice by not bringing them here. Disney is great, but it can never be as great as a visit to one of our national parks, especially Yellowstone. Don't forget to give us a like or subscribe to our channel. We have a lot more to show you of where we've been and where we're going. Also, check out our blog on rvjournal.com or our Instagram at arvjournal.